Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction, Cheryl. And thank you so much for showing up here with beautiful interest and curiosity. And I love to thank you all. And it is my true privilege and honor to be able to live here in this wonderful community and also share today my culture. So today I'd love to talk about the little house on a big prairie and what it is and also what you can do there. So before we came to Wallowa County, we were living in Japan, my husband and I. And when we moved to the county, we started our family. And our son was born here. And when the second baby was born, our life got changed drastically. When I called my parents in Japan to report my baby's birth, I was expecting to hear joy, but instead I heard long, long silence. And eventually my mother told me, finally, you had a healthy birth, so I can share this. Your father has 3 months life left. And my father was terminal stage of lung cancer, and I was shocked, and I was desperate to go back to see him. But then, a couple of weeks later, my husband came home and told me, I got diagnosed with cancer. And I thought that was a bad joke. But the test results showed his cancer was stage 3, 50-50 survival chance. And he was going through surgery tests, so often I was alone with my 2-year-old and a newborn baby. And I was sobbing often. And one day, I was sobbing in front of the fireplace with my newborn baby in my arms. And then my 2-year-old boy stood behind me and told me, "It's okay, Mommy. It's okay, Mommy." And at that time, I decided to do anything, everything that I could do to save my husband. So I started to study green tea, and then I went to a local grocery store and picked up 10 boxes of tea bag tea. That was the only green tea available there at that time. And I told my husband to drink 10 tea bag teas each day. And he did it for 3 days. On the third day, he looked at me and he said, "Honey, I can't do this anymore. I'd rather die." And that word didn't put me into the depression. Actually, I got fired up. And I researched more about green tea. And I wanted to find out what makes tea potent, what makes tea more delicious. And at the same time, I started to find the better tea, best tea, organic, pure, and potent. And with my friend's help, I found beautiful gem that time. That was organic sencha powder, and my husband liked the flavor, and he started to drink it, and his oncologist said, "Yeah, go ahead and drink it." That was 2002, and he didn't know much about green tea, and then after 18 months later, he went through 4 cycles of treatment, chemotherapy, and we went back to see him in Seattle. And then that oncologist said, "Well, congratulations. You don't have to come back and see me anymore. You beat the odds. but don't stop drinking your tea. So that was the beginning of our tea business journey. In 2004, Bill's family came over here in Enterprise at our house. We celebrated his recovery with putting labels on 120 pouches of sencha green tea powder. And I thought, oh my God, I have lifetime supply of green tea. Then, surprisingly, we sold them out before the end of that year. So we were really we got serious about teaching, educating American folks about green tea benefits. And in 2005, I took my family to Japanese organic tea field. And our newborn was by then 4-year-old standing in the middle of the tea field. And since then, I was luckily, a lot of things went great. And one of them was Japanese government was promoting green tea for export. So I was invited by Japanese government to meet Japanese tea growers and tea companies. And I was invited like 3 times. And probably altogether, I met 100 different companies and made a wonderful network. And I did a lot of grocery store demos and some seminars. The photos, this one, I don't know if I can point it. Okay, that one was in New York. It was fun. And also locally, I am sharing the tea ceremony and Japanese culture from toddlers to adults, high school students in between. Now, as Cheryl shared, our company name is now ut.com, and I'm in charge of logistics and production of the products in Japan. So, UT and my new effort, Kominka Life Coaching, they are tied together with common thread, which is renewal and growth. Let's find out what Kominka is. Kominka is a Japanese word. Ko means old. Minka is house for people. So Kominka is a traditional Japanese folk house or farmhouse. It's got all different styles, but all of them use traditional Japanese carpentry. And why did we bring a Kominka all the way from Japan to here? The reason was they were getting demolished fast. For example, during the 5 years, 2013 to 18, 1/5 of existing old houses got demolished or burned. Along the way, traditional skilled carpenters, the number of them is decreased drastically. So loss of Kominka is loss of cultural heritage and also that special Japanese carpentry skills. So we wanted to help just a smidge of the support or movement to preserve that cultural heritage. So we brought Kominka in 2 stages. The first came as tea house. And this tea house didn't have power, no plumbing, so it is like an ADU, accessory dwelling unit. So it's very small, like 200 square feet, probably. And it came as a prehab unit. So that means all the walls and the roofs were already packed with insulation. And those people, including Japanese carpenters, put them together in 2 weeks. And including that first stage and the second stage, we had many hours of Zoom meeting with here, American engineer and Japanese engineer. This picture was taken at Devco office here in Enterprise, Oregon. Jim Nave, he helped us to make sure our building meets American Building Code. So these pictures show the pillars and the beams were reassembled after dismantled. And but this happened inside of our warehouse in Japan. And Sept would help me to show you a little bit of the process after they dismantle our old house. Yes. So each piece was washed carefully. And if any parts were rotten or too old to use, it was the new piece was created. And each part was carefully labeled. And every piece, all of them, was used to recreate and assemble the whole building to make sure they they are really building the whole thing using all the parts. And then guess what? They had to deassemble again. They are Japanese pines mostly. And also hinoki, Japanese cypress. So those parts were carefully packed in 7 crates and packed in a 40-foot shipping container and shipped to Tacoma port first, and then it was brought by truck to here, Enterprise, Oregon. And they did a marvelous job. It was so packed tightly, so it was a little bit of nerve-wracking to unpack each crate, so people were trying not to break anything. And then construction began. Do you notice? The pillars are standing. That is the first difference of between Japanese buildings and American buildings. So these people are the crew to build that ADU part of Kominka. And the left-hand side, he is Eric Carlson. He's the chief of the building team. And also he's one of the major part of the preserving Kominka effort. So Eric had a ranch in Lostin. I heard he sold the ranch. Okay. Next person is Kunito. He is Eric's brother-in-law, and he is native Japanese. And he and his wife lives in my hometown where I grew up. The world is very small. And he apprenticed how to build a Japanese style building. He came from Portland. And these people are Japanese carpenters and engineers. So the container arrived on October 19th. And we had first snow of that season a few days later. So this picture was from the second stage, but it shows each part has carefully labeled, and you can see the mortise and tenon clearly. And those mortise and tenon are like giant Lego, and that part was put together with wooden mallet. I just realized. Okay, now this, do you notice the big piece of wood on the top of the roof? In Japanese, that is called munagi, and it's got a little symbolic meaning for Japanese house. It's like a spine of the house. And also it is protecting the house security and the people's blessings. Okay. So it is like symbolic for structural integrity. This shows eaves. In Japanese, hisashi. Hisashi is longer than those typically seen in American structure. Hisashi is creating a transitional space from outside to inside or from inside to outside. This is fascia. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. In Japanese, it's hana kakushi. Hana kakushi and koya-ura kanki. That is an attic ventilation. These showcase the seamless blend of functionality and refined Japanese aesthetics, where practical needs are met with craftsmanship and elegance. Kawara or onigawara. That piece is decorative roof tile, usually placed at the end of a ridge or gable. We placed it inside, and ours says it's hard to see from this picture, but ours has a kanji character of water. So it's symbolizing protection against fire. And the hinoki, that is a Japanese cypress. Japanese cypress used throughout our Kominka. When you step in, you notice kind of white, soft, fragrant wood. That is Japanese cypress. And because it's so resistant and strong for decay, it symbolizes longevity and resilience, and used for temples and torii gate. Torii gate is it's like the entrance of the Shinto shrines, very sacred for Japanese people because Shinto is the indigenous religion in Japan. And hinoki is used for the oldest wooden building in Japan, in Nara, Japan. Beams. These beams are natural, and they symbolize strength, history, and life force. A lot of people who came to Kominka told me that energy is something you really need to feel in there, something the photographs won't convey. So I hope you will visit Kominka. The screen doors are all real and authentic. And it is hard to see, but Japanese houses are so low and Japanese people are kind of short. So they kindly added the height to match the American size, American height of the building. And also, this picture, the middle picture, shows that Yukimi Shoji, that means snow viewing window. Japanese sits on the floor. And when you open the bottom part of that window, you can enjoy the beautiful snow falling view without standing up. So this is also one of the amazing craftsmanship because that cover of that, the bottom part, stays on thanks to the tiny, fragile, the spring that you can see on that the end picture. Here in the county, there is another native Japanese person, charming lady, Tomoko, once visited. And here is the photo of Kunito and Tomoko. And instantly, I am transported to Japan. And we invited American carpenters to experience to build a Japanese style building. And one of them was a female. So our Kominka is a real, authentic Japanese house. And I was curious before this presentation. I was getting ready for this presentation, and I Googled how many Kominkas in the US. And AI came up with answer. Thank you. Yes, so ours showed up as the first one. And so I'm going to talk about two options. So in California, there is a house called the Shoya House that is located in Huntington Garden, Botanical Garden. And it is a big house, like 3,000 square feet. And they actually created the beautiful Japanese garden surrounding. The difference between ours and theirs is not just the size. Actually, their piece is museum piece. So you can go inside in a limited area, but other than that, you are just looking into the building from outside of that rope. And the third one in Massachusetts, that is another one, Kominka Collective, who helped us to bring Kominka to Wallowa County. This is another project of theirs, and they are building in Massachusetts. And to my pleasant surprise, it even provided the map. There we are. Kominka in Wallowa County. Now, I'd love to talk about what you can do. Speaking of experiences. So we had a great time when my dear friends wanted to do a farewell party for Jan to move from here to College Place. And they were so beautiful, and we had a great time. And this one, celebrating Mother's Day as a whole family. And this is part of the meals they enjoyed. And this one, one of the first tea ceremonies I did in the tea house section. And I did tea ceremony for her when she fully recovered from her injury. While we are enjoying the tea ceremony, my husband and her husband enjoyed sake tasting. And this tea ceremony is for her birthday, but she brought her granddaughter, and she put the kimono on and enjoyed the tea ceremony together. And so many more birthdays. And also, we did a little bit of cultural education, cultural experience before they took a family trip to Japan. And some people stayed for their business, and some people stayed there to reconnect. One person lives in Cove, one person lives in San Francisco. They enjoyed the tea ceremony together. And, we did different occasions of life experience. We did memorial tea ceremony for a man who suddenly lost his life. He was a great father, husband, and friend. And some people came over to celebrate their children's wedding. And I offered a retreat And the first retreat I've done was for 8 days, and I provided 3 meals a day. And we have physical guest book also, and it is just fantastic, amazing, and I feel grateful for people to write about their experience in their own words. Each one is so touching. I really, really enjoy this. And if you'd like to see more photos of Kominka, and then please visit airbnb.com/h for house and /Zen House Kominka. And please email me any questions and any inquiries. Every one of them is really appreciated. So please feel free to email me, kominkalifecoaching@gmail.com. Now, I would love to introduce you about tea ceremony. What is it? Is that just a tea ceremony wearing kimono? That is fun, but actually it's more than that, and I'd love to share that. So, tea is made from a plant called Camellia sinensis. And the Camellia sinensis offers you healthful components. That is catechins or EGCG. And the catechins are one of the most powerful antioxidants that detox you. That means your free radicals are neutralized. And so neutralized, and free radicals are believed to be causing the aging, illness. So, and also that catechins boost immunity. Catechins also boost the sensitivity for insulin. Catechins also prohibit the accumulation of aluminum in the brain. Believe it or not, the list of the health benefits goes on and on and on. And L-theanine, that is amino acid. And this L-theanine is almost exclusively found in Camellia sinensis. And it provides you natural relaxation without causing drowsiness. And now scientists are studying these substances for the benefits on human beings' mind. And they are discovering the benefits of these substances on our mind. Now, I'd love to talk about the basic mind 101. So, we have 2 operating systems in the brain. And one of them is called default mode network. It's literally default. If you are not intentional, this operation system is running. And this operation system is responsible for quick reaction to keep you safe. So probably you've heard of fight, flight, freeze response of stress. And this network is responsible for it. On the other hand, we also have network called the task positive network. That is a different operation system. When this side is on, we are able to connect our beautiful qualities And those qualities happen to start with letter C. First one is creativity, compassion, curiosity without judgment, courage, and self-command. The last one is kind of cheated because it's self-command, but nonetheless, all C's are in this side of the operation system in every one of us. And interesting fact about these networks is it works like seesaw. When one is on, the other side is off. So when you are not intentional and letting that default side run the life, and then you kind of forget about the other side. And the T substances, phytochemicals, catechins, and L-theanine boost the function of this intentional side. I thought that was fascinating discoveries. So tea ceremony started like 1400, 14th century in Japan. I can make the presentation about the history by itself, but anyway, the history of tea ceremony is about bringing mindfulness into everyday life. And the tea ceremony has principles, and I'd love to share just a couple of them here. The first one is Ichigo Ichie. Ichi means one in Japanese. Every moment is once in a lifetime opportunity. That is the meaning of Ichigo Ichie. And to discover that uniqueness, unique beauty about each moment, you are naturally activating that intentional side, executive function side. The second principle that I'd love to share is a little deep. Shingai mubetsuho. Outside of the mind, no reality exists. That means your mind determines how you experience circumstances. Circumstance itself is neutral. It doesn't have bad meaning or good meaning, like rain. Sometimes rain is inconvenient, nuisance, and even depressing. If you perceive that circumstance, rain, your emotion is depressed or heavy, and then that emotion creates certain type of actions or inactions. On the other hand, the same circumstance, rain, is perceived sometimes like, oh yes, blessing, or comforting, or even calming. And when you see the circumstance that way, your emotion gets aligned with that, and then your actions will be different too. So you are creating your own life experience from that circumstance. Now, I use tea ceremony to experience that concept. And I call tea ceremony integrated tea ceremony now because it is integrating scientific discoveries. And the science shows if you are paying attention one of the five senses, it makes it easier for us to activate that intentional side. And of course, if you're drinking tea made from Camellia sinensis, it's also helping you too. And when you do that ritual, it is even more effective if you recognize and notice that experience, calming experience you are feeling. And intentionally, you can imagine in this kind of a scenario, if that person is the person who I want to be, and imagine what kind of emotions the person experience, and you can just imagine that too. And the brain believes you are experiencing that emotion as you are. So I'd love to invite you to do this short ritual together. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes with me, and please take deep breaths a few times, slower than usual. Now, please pay attention to the temperature of the air. When you inhale, the temperature of the air is nice and fresh, and when you exhale, the temperature is slightly warmer. So please notice that difference. Now, please put your index finger and the thumb together, gently but with such attention that you can feel the fine ridges of the fingertips. Please pay all attention to that touch sensation. Now please relax your hand, and now put your right hand on your stomach gently, and please feel the subtle rising and falling of your stomach as you inhale and exhale. Now please relax your hand. And now please pay attention to the furthest sound you can hear. And please try to let go of any thoughts you may be having. Now shift your attention to the closest sound that you can hear. It may be your breath. Now please gently open your eyes when you're ready. How are you feeling? So you just activated, fully connected with that intentional side of the network. And also, please remember, there are 5 C's in there. So I am providing coaching sessions remotely on Zoom or on site at Kominka. And this is one of the testimonial I received from my dear clients. And I really appreciate that, the openness and the little change that you notice. And you can actually measure the progress. And there are 3 ways to measure the progress. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear from you what you think about the coaching and how and who could benefit from this. All right. So I'd love to invite to email me about the experience you want to have, something you might wanted to do for a long time but they didn't have time or chance to do it, like maybe just reading, maybe writing a book, maybe just being there and reflecting. Anyway, I really appreciate your attention, and my big thank you to Josephine Center, all of the staff, people. Rich is not here today, but Rich invited me to talk about Kominka. And yeah, all of my friends, very supportive, giving me a good energy all the time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.